Events happen that change our lives. Dealing with change is what we do. We discuss with industry professionals objective solutions to work through cherished items and family memories. When we go beyond the gavel, we provide tools and information to deal with these crisis times. Welcome to Beyond the Gavel. I'm Shane Feely with Auction Solutions, Inc. in Omaha, Nebraska. I have a special guest today as we go beyond the gavel. I'm visiting with Mandi Matlock. She's operator owner of Senior Helpers. And their motto is, we provide care and comfort at a moment's notice. Mandi, please tell us a little bit about Senior Helpers.
Absolutely. So Senior Helpers is a great solution for when family loved ones need additional care, whether they're still in the home and we're trying to keep them there as long as possible, or if they're already in a facility long-term, we kind of offer that extra sitter services is what we call it, but it's just a little extra one-on-one time that they may need if they're not getting everything.
Is that a little different than most providers that provide services such as yours? You'll go into the home or the facility that they're at or as well?
Absolutely. So we fit the mold, whatever the mold may be. So they might already be in a senior living community, an assisted living community, or a long-term facility, but they might still be in their home and just want to stay there as long as possible. Out of, 9 out of 10 seniors 65 and up want to stay where they're at. They don't want to move. I don't think moving is fun for anyone, but it's sometimes, necessary. And we just try to fill the gaps wherever it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, when do families decide to call Senior Helpers?
So we really have two main times when people are calling us, and that is after there's been a fall, or we're seeing a little bit of dementia coming out, and there's been episodes of that, and the family is scared, they don't know what to do, they're nervous, and we just kind of put everyone at ease, and we're able to offer many different solutions for that, so it's not too aggressive. It's very, companion care, or we just kind of fit the mold, depending upon what the family's wanting, what the senior is wanting. We're coming into their home, so we're respectful of that, because that can also be pretty scary for them. And then the second main call that we get is Mama's being discharged from the hospital in an hour, and we're not prepared. What do we do? And so we also are able to put them at ease at that moment. We kind of jump to moment's notice. We're there. We get there. We find out the right care plan of action, and we get going. And I have awesome caregivers that work for us, which they're just little angels that have been sent from heaven that have fallen into our laps. And the thing about our caregivers is they're employed by us, and they're vetted. We check their driving record, we check their background, and so you know who's coming into your home. So,
how often do they visit? Does it depend on what the customer wants?
Yeah, absolutely. It just depends on the level of care that the family is needing. So if the family is pretty involved, we might be 4 hours on a Saturday so that they can go and have lunch and talk about the loved one without having to do it in front of them, because that can be a little daunting as well. So it could be 4 hours at a time once a month, or it could be 24/7 care. It just depends on the level of care. And sometimes it's when family lives out of state, or even just across town and has busy lives, kids of their own that they're raising, and just trying to make things work. We can be in the home or wherever they are up to 24/7.
Well, that's really nice. It's nice to have someone checking if you're in assisted living or your choice of a smaller apartment, that you know that you're going to be checking on them once in a while. Do you provide prescription? Do you help them with their prescriptions or do any medicating?
Yep, so we do offer a lot of services. However, there are things that we do not do. We do not administer medication, whether that's, we do have med aides that can come into the home and set up a pill planner.
Oh, great.
For 2 weeks at a time. I do offer that. However, when the caregiver's in the home, they're not putting it in their hand, they're not putting it in their mouth. It's their decision whether or not they want to take their medications or not. However, when they're not taking their medications, which is a worry for most children of elderly parents, if they're not taking it properly, we have the communication set up to reach out to the family or whoever their next of kin is to say, Mom didn't take her medicine, Dad didn't want to do his insulin today, whatever the case may be. And the other service that we are really hands-off about is that skilled care. So whether it's injections with insulin, wound care, we're a little bit hands-off on that. But we do work really well with home health that comes in, so we differ from them. But they're very fantastic at what they do, but they're only there for exactly what they do. And then we fill the gaps with, if linens need to be changed, that's a really hard activity for someone if they have hip problems. You know, bending over to put things in the dishwasher, that's a huge fall risk. Taking out the trash, huge fall risk. And falls are the number one reason seniors are going to the emergency room. And so we try to prevent it. If it does happen, we try to, you know, get in there as quickly as possible to remedy the situation.
Oh, that's great. So what other services does Senior Helpers provide?
So we really specialize in the dementia care. We have a fantastic training program that was developed by Teepa Snow. She's been in dementia care for 30 years. She's very well renowned. And we also have great training on Parkinson's. It's a lot smaller of a community, but it's still, I mean, the way that they have to take their medications is pretty intense, and it can be very difficult for a family member or even the person themselves. And so we really dive into both of those aspects a lot. And I think what makes us a little on the different side is we do housekeeping, and we transport them to doctor's appointments. So someone's not having to take off work, run, go get Dad, take him to the doctor, and then they always want to have lunch so they can catch up with you. And then you take them back home, get back to work, and that's a big event. And now you're missing a ton of work hours, and the figures are staggering of unproductive work hours due to people having to take time off to take care of their elderly parents.
That's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about Beyond the Gavel, because when you have a life-changing incident with an elder loved one or just a family member, it disrupts everybody. And until they get into that swing of, you take Tuesday, I'll take Thursday, it can take it eats up a lot of time.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's working with the family saying, okay, here's the calendar, let's mark down when Bobby can be here, when Sue can be here, when Joan can be here, we'll fill in the gaps. Because we don't want to take any of that personal time that you can have with your family, because it's so important. We want to work alongside you. We don't want to step on anyone's toes. And on top of that, you want them to feel as independent as possible. They need to be a part of these decisions as much as possible. And they need to feel independent. We're there to enrich their lives. We're not there to dictate what they're doing. We're there to, you know, we went to a baseball game with a gentleman because he hadn't been to a baseball game in years. And he wanted to go, but he was scared of getting down the stairs, scooting into his seat. It's scary when you have a balance issue. So we had a caregiver and myself, and we went out and we went to a Chasers game. And so it was just fun to get out and do something different. He hadn't done it in years. And I do have a lady, she wants to go see a play soon, so we have that on the docket coming up. So we don't just do, we're at the house, let's do what needs to get done. Although we do a lot of that. Dishes, laundry, you know, we kind of fit the mold wherever we need to be.
Well, that's very interesting. And I know that right now we're in a time where there are 3 generations basically downsizing. You have your World War II veterans, God bless them. You have your Vietnam veterans, and you also have the boomers. So there's a lot of people making changes in their lives right now. How has that impacted what you're able to do?
So I think it's a great opportunity when you're downsizing. You're moving into, you know, you're not having all the obligations of keeping up with the lawn, you know, all the exterior maintenance. It's kind of being done for you, so you're taking that off of your plate, which is fantastic. However, I mean, when you're moving all these veterans around or baby boomers, the injury and fall risk of carrying boxes, it just scares me because I've seen a lot of bad things happen, and it's scary. So, but speaking of veterans, we do offer aid and assistance for VA, through the VA. We're able to offer a pay through that. It's, a little bit of a process, but it is something that we do. It just, they deserve it. We try our best to make sure
right.
we get them taken care of. And
that's wonderful.
We're just now rolling out where we can hire their spouse to be a caregiver.
Oh.
And so we kind of give a little training to the spouse of the veteran, and it's just being put onto the forefront right now. So we're working through that, but it's very exciting because then it's putting a little money in their pocket, and they're getting service, and we're giving them the training that they need.
Well, and for a lot of veterans who have PTSD or real issues with people, knowing that that person taking care of them is someone that they know and love has got to be an ease of their minds a little bit.
And I mean, it is scary having someone come into your home that you don't know. So whether we're able to get out there and we are bringing in a caregiver, I always meet them, or I have my office manager, someone that they've met prior, we'll just say that, someone that they've met prior is introducing a new face to them, because it is scary. I mean, it's scary for a caregiver to walk into a home and they don't really know what to expect, and it's scary when you're the homeowner having someone new into your house.
Yeah, I can see how that would be very, very scary. And the family of the person that you're taking care of, they're like, oh.
You want to be able to trust them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what services do you not provide? What?
So that was the medication.
Medication?
Administration, and we don't do the skilled nursing, which is the wound care and
right.
Stuff like that. But we do offer anything from peace of mind services. We do a well watch, which is a little bit more hands-off, but it's a lot during the winter, where we see if they're able to get out of their driveway due to snow, ice, and this last winter was a big issue. So if they haven't had anyone come and put ice melt down, shovel their driveway, because they might be very able to still drive, but their kids live in California, and they don't know if mom's able to get out of the driveway, because we all know snow blowers and stuff can be pretty hard to manage sometimes, especially if you're shoveling. It's not a safe environment. So we call, we check on them. So we have that as well, which is, just something that we check on them weekly, go out there monthly, just make sure they're doing okay. And then we also just do the peace of mind visits, which is the 4 hours,
sure.
And then kind of go into everything. But we do a lot of dementia training, so, because that's just a different, as a family, you want to make sure that your caregiver is very trained on that, because it can be difficult.
Well, and they like to sneak out the door, don't they?
Yes.
Take a little walk?
Some of them can be flight risks, so you need to make sure. And with that, they might go outside and walk the dog, and then they kind of forget what street they're on, and it's like, uh-oh, how do I get home? And so the caregiver will go on a walk with the dog, whatever it may be, just because it is something, especially, pets can be such great companions.
Absolutely.
You don't want to take that away from them, but with that, you want to make sure that they're taking them out. They remember to do that, because that can be something that, if you have a puppy that comes in, you might not remember because you haven't been doing that for years. And so it's just finding the right caregiver with the right client is also something that we really strive on, to get that perfect match. And so, if I have a dog lover, I'll send them to a house that has a dog, and they get along great.
So could you talk to me a little bit about the difference when you're working with a couple and one of them passes away? Tell me some of the things that you notice while working with just the remaining spouse.
So a lot of times we come in and there has been a death of a spouse, and they now want someone to be a companion care client for us. And we walk in and it's just making sure, it might just be sitting down and watching movies just for that social interaction, because that's huge on health issues that could pop up. But what we're finding is when we get in there, the way that they managed their household together for 50 years was working. And then you have one piece missing out of that, and everything crumbles. They together managed it just fine, and no one knew any different, that things weren't getting done because the other was filling the gaps, and they'd been doing it for years. And then you walk in and mom hasn't paid a bill. She's not paid a bill in 50 years. Why would she pay a bill now? And so we have issues with, we walk in there and we see water bills that are stacking up, and you want to make sure things are being taken care of, and you thought mom was doing just fine, and then now dad passes, and it's amazing the secrets that they keep. It really is.
It's pretty amazing. So what then, that you would contact a family member and say who's going to pay the bills over here because somebody needs to take care of mom or dad?
Right, and we can help manage the finances. However, it's something we really are kind of hands off about, just because it's a big hot topic. However, it would be a communication where I would be calling the family saying, okay, our caregiver was in there, saw this, I want you to be aware of it. Is there a time that maybe we can meet and kind of discuss either at the home or away from the home, wherever they are, because we want them to feel independent. We want them to pay their bills. They've done it for a long time potentially and just don't remember. And so we want them to feel that independence, but they just need to be reminded in a careful way.
In a careful way, I like that. So do you enter homes that may be a hoarder type situation? Are there things that you are required to do if you walk into a home like that?
So there are things that I am looking for because I'm the first one through the door. So if you walk in and you can tell that we haven't taken the trash out lately, or there's bedding all around the couch, that's a sure sign that they're not going to bed to go to sleep. They're just staying there. Well, is that a companion's issue where they may have lost a spouse, they don't want to sleep in the same bed? Or is it a physical issue where their hip is hurting so bad they can't get up and can't make it to the room? So you just kind of have to see where that's at. But when you walk in and there is a situation where there is a ton of boxes everywhere, trash piled up, we would just speak with the family and kind of get a game plan together of, you know what, let's work 5 feet away from the couch and let's plan on going through that together. And sometimes they want family there, sometimes they don't. And so it's just kind of seeing, because it's very difficult for them to let things go. That's why they have everything they have. And so it's just, it's a one-on-one basis on that.
Sure. I just kind of wondered, because I know after the house is empty and we go in, we see different things too. But one thing I am very proud of is families who let their parent live the way they want to. You can't boss your mom around because she's your mom, and she's very stubborn, and she's been your mom for however many years. And dad's kind of the same way too, and being able to let them have that freedom, whether they can take them or have someone like you help out, is a really important thing.
It is a nice fit to whatever situation you're in, because we can be there a lot or we can be there just a little bit. And so it's not a super aggressive thing to have someone come into your home for just a few hours a week or whenever needed. But it can be, if they need help, we can also change that 4 hours a week to 16 hours a week. And my caregivers are able to just kind of fill in the gaps, and they're able to go. But it is hard to make those calls.
I bet.
And it's very hard for the parent as well as the child. So we have to be emotionally available to them as well, because it is a very emotional decision.
Absolutely. So what would, if I was thinking about something like that, I just call it senior helpers. You're located in Ralston, but you're citywide?
Right. So our office is in downtown Ralston. We have a cute little spot down there. I love it. However, we do service all over. So, Bennington, Elkhorn, all in the south area as well, Papillion, Bellevue, Plattsmouth. We're out in Gretna. I personally live out in Gretna, so we have a couple of caregivers out there that are available, and we try to keep the caregivers close to the clients so that, if something happens and they needed someone right away, we're able to be there right away.
Sure. When we talk about the cost of in-home service, it's going to depend on how many trips and what your team is doing for these people.
Right.
But is it cost prohibitive? I mean, we're not, what are we talking? What does it look like? You don't have to be specific with numbers, but.
Right, no, I think it's an important topic because it is a huge question when you're making these decisions, but we are based on an hourly service. So we're there for so many allotted hours, and you pay that rate. 90%, if not more, is private pay. However, we do have the ability to take some long-term care insurance payments. It depends on the policy, and some of those policies are kind of, have to be deciphered in like a native language of some sort. But we do have the ability to do that, and as well as the aid and assistance for the veterans.
That is great. So I have 3 brothers and a sister, or 2 brothers and a sister. There's 4 of us. If my mother couldn't afford to pay for that, could you split up the payments so that we could all help if that was our choice?
Yes, and that is also something that I'm very proud of, that we're able to split an invoice among the siblings or between, the mom or dad, the client, and whomever. That way there's not a family member that's having to say, okay, mom's bill is due, I need money from you. I'll take on that responsibility. Yeah. I don't want you to have to do that, because that can create a family dynamic that is not fun to deal with.
Yeah.
And it can create a little dysfunction.
So why did you choose Senior Helpers? Of all the franchises and things that you could do, what stood out?
A lot of things. My husband and I kind of sat down and talked about different things. We thought about going into different avenues, different franchises, and this company just popped up, and I was like, well, this is exactly what we need to do. My husband had his personal experience with his grandparents. I had mine with my grandparents, and it was a huge decision for our family when it came time for this, and we didn't really know about in-home senior services to come in, and that would have been such a blessing, but we just didn't know about it. And so the education on it is fantastic. It's out there, it's available. Between different franchises within this arena, I just loved our training, because that was my background, is education and training, and I saw what they had, and I was blown away. And it's available to all of our caregivers, and I've gone through them all as well, and I was blown away.
That is great, because you can never really stop learning. You need to find out everything that you can. And with the changes in the industry today, that has to be a lot to keep up with, because you need to know what would be covered with you, or someone else would have to step in and do as well.
And I think that was the benefit of going with a franchise instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to open this on my own and do it. There is so much compliance that's through the state. The franchise is able to say, this needs to be done, and this needs to be done, and here's the training platform for the caregivers. Send this out in an email, get them all taken care of, and that way, if there's a change in anything, I know about it instantly, and we're able to address it, and then we're compliant with everything.
Wow, that's great. So if I needed you to go to the doctor with my parent, would that be something that your group could do?
Absolutely. So our caregivers are able to transport, whether it's in their own vehicle or in the client's vehicle. They're able to drive them to their appointments, go to the grocery store, run through the pharmacy, go to lunch. Maybe they haven't gone to their favorite restaurant in a really long time, because just getting out, and when you have family events, it's always in the house because there's so many people. So it can be a wide variety. But yep, the caregiver, they get loaded up, they go on events, whatever it may be, doctor's appointment, or what have you.
Great. So what would be, besides your excellent motto, what would be something that you would like me to take away today?
I like the fact that I can say my caregivers are trained, they're fantastic people, they've been doing this for a while, and they're just loving, good-hearted people, and they are out there, even in this world that you don't know. I do all the background checking on everything, and they're gonna be safe, and that's something that I take very personally. that is something I want you to feel very comfortable with us.
And you're available to call if a crisis occurs.
Yeah.
Call senior helpers and make you part of the plan.
Right. So our office line has a answering service. So even if it's after business hours, you're going to reach a live person, and then that will be directed. Whatever level of emergency it is,
Sure.
will be directed where it needs to go. Yeah. But there's always someone available. Yeah.
That's great. Well, Mandi, how long have you been in this business?
So I have a background in hospitality, which seems really crazy, but it's customer service, and that's why I did this, is the level of customer service that I feel like I can offer that other people might not be able to.
Sure.
So I have been doing this for a short time, but I have surrounded myself with people that have been doing this for a very long time. And this is a very refreshing side to them, because the service aspect is not always, I mean, you go into a doctor's office, you know how long you have to wait. It can be hard sometimes.
Annoying.
Yeah. Respect my time, I'll respect your time. They kind of lose that a little bit. And so we try to be we thrive to be respectful, to enrich lives, and to be there to comfort when they need them.
Great.
Yeah.
Mandi, thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
today. Mandi Matlock with Senior Helpers. We're so glad to see you and hear what you have to offer our seniors and just families out there. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is really fun.